Living on a Thin Line, and what a wonderful guitar sound. And you think about that when you hear the Kinks, those songs that many of us have grown up with and gone, wow. But Dave Davies has always been way ahead. He has new bits and pieces out at the moment. That's what we're going to talk about, because he's right here on the phone. Now, you've been on quite a mystical journey, haven't you, since...
Oh, of course, yeah.
When did it first start for you? Because you've always been interested in different things. So when did you first kind of think, actually, I'm thinking in a different way here?
Well, I've got a DVD out, and it's called Mystical Journey, and it's autobiographical, but it touches on all my spiritual and mystical interests, and it goes way back to when I was a child, really. When I was 11, my sister really died.
Oh.
And I really thought it was really strange as a young boy, thinking that someone dies you love and they put them in a box and they put it in the ground. Why do people accept that? It's like, is that the end? Is that what's going to happen to all of us? So I was quite inquisitive and curious, when I was little. And I decided to find out what was going on. So when I got older, I checked out spiritualism, and then I got involved with trance mediumship, and I got into astrology in a heavy way, and mysticism. And when I got into yoga and meditation, I really started to get it really started to resonate within me, and it's been thread of my life since my childhood, really. So apart from all the rock and roll and the drugs and relationships and touring and madness of rock and roll, behind the scenes I've always been into mystical things and spiritualism mainly.
And also, you recovered from having a stroke, didn't you? So did your spiritualism help you in that? Oh,
of course, yeah, it really did. It was a very important lesson for me, I think, when I had that. It's an awful illness. It's it's so depleting. But what was curious, although I was on my back, paralysed virtually, for about 3 days before I could really move properly, I was never really afraid. It was curious. And I was I was actually more aware than I'd been for some years. It's really, really odd how aware I was of everything and people, and especially outside the window of the hospital ward. There were trees and a park, and I really understood the power of nature and the healing properties of nature, which I always believed because I was into spiritual healing anyway. And I found that the knowledge that I'd gained through all my interest in yoga and meditation and stuff really did help me get through the illness.
Absolutely. And play guitar as well. That's unimpaired, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, it took me a while to get back into a routine, but I think you have to be so positive and firm of mind and spirit to get through things.
How fantastic. And it's a real brave thing, isn't it, to get out there and put a DVD out and say, right, this is me, as opposed to just doing a book.
Well, it's, something's always been the backdrop of my life. It's always been really important. And it's been the most important thing to me, my spiritual life. And it should be to everybody. We got to make a living and do work and be practical, but we're still spiritual beings.
Absolutely, and we need to...
You don't have a day off, it's not... We're spiritual beings all the time, not a few hours a week.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And also we need to be philosophical about how we can help other people and be happy. I mean, apparently, the government's trying to make us all happy somehow. And somebody's written, we've been talking to Purple Ronnie, the man who wrote all the Purple Ronnie books. And he was saying now he's done this series of books about the world of happy, to help children to understand that, you've got to be true to yourself and, realise your dreams and be happy, which is fantastic when we think about it.
It's been proven years ago that if you smile, even though you don't mean it, the brain registers different chemicals that go on in the brain. So an insincere smile is probably a lot better than a grouchy, grumbly groan.
Yeah.
So even science has realised that now.
I'm always
so we
smiling.
Can kind of, if we're down, we can fake ourselves into being into a good mood.
Which is better.
Which is better, but eventually we get into a state where we can cope. We can always cope better when we feel confident and when we have love and emotional support in our lives. And so it's important, and we can all help each other. And it's not some sort of vague hippie kind of, hey man, peace and love and that. But it's like a practical way of living. It's not even a religion, really. It's a way of processing information in a positive way.
You have a new project, don't you, out at the moment? Two Worlds by the Aschere project. Have I said that right? The
Aschere project.
Aschere project. Where does that come from? Because this is really quite an interesting concept that you've come up with, because it's not like any of the music that you've ever composed before.
No, it's really special, I think, special to me. And my son Russ, who's a younger musician, he's been involved in electronic music for a number of years now. And he called me up one day. He said, "What about doing some recording again?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So he sends me over a bunch of MP3s of ideas and stuff. And I make a CD, and I'm out driving in the country and listening to these musical ideas, like landscapes. I get out of the car and I'm looking over the sea and I'm thinking, this is amazing. There's this huge story emerging from this music. So I get back and I throw my guitar on and plug in my synths, and I get writing lyrics and restructuring the songs, and then I send it back to Russell. Then we would get together and I'd do it's a wonderful experience. And we're trying to develop it now into a stage musical.
It really does, have a journey about it. Let's hear part of Echoes, because this is kind of like towards the end of it, isn't it? So where does the story actually begin?
Well, it's quite how much time we got. It's very quickly, and basically the story is about two lovers that are separated and stranded opposite sides of the universe. And the girl, Bella, she is a mystic, and she lives on a planet called Kronikles, which is the other side of the Milky Way system. And she senses this deep love she has for this man, this person, and she knows that he's out there among the stars, but she doesn't know where. So her people, they're old shamans, they're a very ancient race of people, and they help her to try and tune into this guy she's in love with, which actually